Learn English through stories, C20 PDF. Adopted and modified by Kulwant Singh Sandhu. Contents: Alice's Adventures in Wonderland. 1. Chapters 1 and 2. 2. Present progressive tense. 3. Pictured dictionary page. Chapter 1. Down the rabbit hole. Alice was bored. She was at the river with her sister, but her sister had a book. Alice looked at the book, but there were no pictures in it. A book with no pictures is not good, Alice thought. It was a hot day, and Alice was tired. She looked at some pretty yellow flowers in the grass by her feet. Suddenly, a white rabbit with pink eyes ran past her. The rabbit took a small watch from his coat, and he looked at it. Oh dear, I will be late," the rabbit said. Then he ran away across the grass. Alice was surprised to see a rabbit with a coat and a watch. She jumped up, and she ran after him. The rabbit came to a tree. Under the tree, there was a big rabbit hole, and a rabbit jumped into it. Alice jumped into the rabbit hole after the rabbit. Alice went down and down. This rabbit hole is very long, Alice thought. I will come to the middle of the earth. Suddenly, Alice hit the ground at the end of the rabbit hole. She was in a long hall and she could see the white rabbit at the other side. Alice ran across the hall. She came to the other side, but the white rabbit was not there. Alice looked across the hall. There were lots of doors in the hall, and Alice tried to open one of them. It was locked. Alice tried to open the other doors. They were all locked. Oh dear, she said. I can't leave this hall. Alice walked to the middle of the hall. She came to a glass table, and on the table there was a little key. Alice took the key, and she went back to the doors. But the key did not open any of the doors. Then Alice saw a little curtain. Behind the curtain, there was a little door. Alice tried to open the little door with the key. And it opened. She looked through the door and she saw a beautiful garden. She saw green grass and pretty flowers. Alice wanted to go into the garden and walk in the flowers. But the door was small and Alice was big. She could not fit through the door. Alice went back to the glass table, and she was surprised to see a small bottle on the table. Where did you come from? She said to the bottle. And then she saw the words, "Drink me," on the bottle. Alice was an intelligent girl, and she knew about poison. Poison can kill people. I must not drink poison, Alice thought. But this bottle did not say poison on it. It said, "Drink me," and Alice drank it. The drink in the bottle was sweet, and Alice drank it all. Then a strange thing happened. Alice started to get smaller. Now I can get through the little door and into the garden, she thought. She ran to the curtain, but then she remembered the key. It was on the glass table. Oh dear, Alice said. Now I am too small to get the key. Alice sat under the table and she started to cry. But then she saw a little glass box. Alice was surprised. Where did you come from? She said to the box. Alice opened the box and she saw a small cake. There were the words, "Eat me," on the cake. I will eat the cake, Alice thought. But will I get taller or smaller? Alice ate a little piece of the cake. She put her hand on her head. Am I getting taller or smaller? She said. But nothing happened. Alice quickly ate all of the cake. Then a strange thing happened. Alice started to get taller. She looked down at her feet, and they were very small. Goodbye, feet. How can I put shoes on you now? She said. Alice did not stop growing. She grew taller and taller. Then Alice's head hit the top of the hall. Alice quickly took the key from the glass table and went to the little door behind the curtain. She opened the door with the key, but poor Alice was now too tall to get through the door. She sat on the floor and she started to cry again. After some time, Alice heard a noise. It was the noise of small feet, and they came close to her. She stopped crying. "Who is that?" she thought. Then she saw the white rabbit. The rabbit wore very nice clothes, and he carried some white gloves in one hand and a big fan in the other. "Oh dear," he said. "Oh, the Duchess will be angry. I am late, I am late." The rabbit ran quickly past Alice. But Alice was sad, and she wanted the rabbit to help her. "Please, rabbit," she began quietly. The rabbit jumped, and he looked up at tall Alice with frightened eyes. He dropped his gloves and fan, and he quickly ran away across the hall. Alice took the rabbit's gloves and fan from the floor. She was hot, and she used the fan. Then she put her hand into the rabbit's glove. "The rabbit's glove fits me," she thought. "I am small again." Alice quickly ran to the little door. But it was locked, and the key was on the glass table. Chapter 2. Little Bill and a Caterpillar. Alice started to cry again. How could she leave the hall now? But then she heard the noise of feet again, and there was the white rabbit. He came to Alice. "Oh dear, where are they?" he said quietly. "He is looking for his gloves and fan," Alice thought. She looked at the floor next to her. But the gloves and fan were not there. Then the white rabbit opened the door and looked at Alice. "What are you doing, Marianne?" he shouted. "Run home and get me some gloves and a fan, go quickly." Alice was frightened. She jumped up, and she began to run. "Who is Marianne?" she thought. "And how can I find the white rabbit's home?" Suddenly she came to a little house. She walked to the door, and she saw the words, "W. Rabbit," above it. Alice went into the house, and she saw some white gloves and a fan. She took them, and she started to leave. But then she saw a small bottle on the table. It did not have the words, "Drink me," on it, but Alice drank it anyway. Alice started to grow. She got bigger and bigger very quickly. She did not fit in the room. She put one arm out of the window and one foot up the chimney. Alice was not happy. "What can I do now?" she thought. Then she heard a noise. "Marianne, Marianne, get my gloves and fan." The white rabbit tried to come into the house. But he could not open the door because Alice was behind it. Then the rabbit went to the window. Alice got the rabbit in her big hand, and she dropped him. Then Alice heard the rabbit. He spoke to someone. "Bill," he said, "go down the chimney and get my gloves and fan." "Oh, Bill is coming down the chimney," Alice thought. "I can kick him out then." She got her foot ready. Then she heard a noise in the chimney, and she kicked her foot hard. Poor little Bill flew out of the chimney. "Bill is coming out of the chimney," the rabbit shouted. "Catch him." Suddenly, something hit Alice's face. It was a small stone. Alice looked at the stone, but now it was a cake. Alice was very surprised, but she ate the cake. She started to get smaller and smaller, and she was very happy. She ran out of the door, and she was surprised to see a big group of animals. In the middle of the group, she saw Bill the lizard. But the animals were angry. They looked at Alice, and she quickly ran away. Alice ran, and then she came to a big mushroom. On top of the mushroom, there was a blue caterpillar. "Who are you?" the caterpillar asked Alice. "I do not know," Alice answered. "I am not me today. Today is a strange day. Sometimes I am big, and sometimes I am small. You are very small now," the caterpillar said. "Are you happy?" "No, I'm not. I want to be taller," Alice said. "Can you help me?" The caterpillar came down from the mushroom. "One side of the mushroom makes you small, And the other side makes you big, the caterpillar said. And then it moved away into the grass. Alice looked at the mushroom. She put out her arms, and she took a piece of it with her right hand. Then she took a piece with her left hand. Alice ate some of the mushroom in her right hand. She started to get smaller fast. Oh dear, she thought. I'm too small now. I do not want to get smaller. And she quickly ate some of the mushroom in her left hand. Alice stopped getting smaller, and she started to grow. Good, Alice thought. But then she started to get too tall. She quickly ate a small piece from her right hand. She stopped growing, and she got a little smaller. Now Alice was Alice again. She was not too tall or too small. 2. Present progressive tense. Use the present progressive tense to talk about things you have planned to do, or things that are going to happen in the future. To form the present progressive tense, use am, is, and are as helping verbs or auxiliary verbs. 1. We are going camping tomorrow. 2. I'm starting piano lessons soon. 3. Banta's parents are taking him to Texas next week. 4. My favorite TV program is starting in a minute. 5. All our friends are coming. 6. Who's bringing salad for the barbecue? I am. 7. I am visiting Rita next week. 8. Where are you going for your vacation? 9. What are we eating for dinner? 10. Where are you going in the summer? 3. Picture dictionary page.